Well, good morning, everyone, team. Let's start the session for today. Meanwhile, others can join parallelly. Let me share my screen. Okay. So
Kumar,
in the last session, team, on Friday, we didn't have the session. As
Kumar,
such, we have.
are you able to hear my voice?
Hello.
Yeah, Kumar. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, please.
Uh, Kumar, my name is Sheikh. Not able to access the site. You shared the credentials, but not able to access. Please.
We'll discuss that at the end of the class. Sure, no problem.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, okay. Okay.
Well, team, in the last session on Friday, we didn't have the session. As such, we have given the break because few of the participants joined lately. So they requested to have a break to complete the sessions, whatever we completed so far, so that they have weekend in place, 3 days to cover team. So on Thursday, we were talking about the org or the enterprise structure that we have in the Fusion application team. I will take the questions with respective to that topic team because at the last 5 minutes I got disconnected due to some network issue team at my place. I'll take up the sessions related to that also today, but I'll continue the topic not yet completed team. Let me complete that first and then we will go to the Q&A team. See, we started with the concept of, we started with the module of core HR team. So I told you the very first module in any project implementation that you are going to work will be core HR or global HR team. Any project you go, small, big, medium size, any client you might take an example team. This is the base module in every project implementation team. Without this, you cannot implement core HR or you cannot implement payroll, absence or any other things team. Okay. Any project implementation you go, the base module will be, 1 second team. Okay. So the base module will be core HR or the global HR module team. So without that, we cannot implement the absence or payroll or talent because in Fusion system, in core HR module only, the employee management or the employee will be maintained team. So employee hiring and employee managing and the employee terminating. The entire hire to retire of the employee will be handled in core HR or core HR or global HR module team. So to start with this module team, we have several configurations in the list here. Okay. In core HR module, whatever we are going to do, we have different list here team. But before starting that core HR module team, we have to understand in core HR, we have a concept called organization structure or the enterprise structure in the system team. So we have two types of structures I told you. One is org structure or the enterprise structure and the other one is workforce structures team. Because 70% of the core HR module will be this one only team. What we are going to do in core HR or global HR module, we are going to configure our client organizations team, their organizations, their enterprise, their divisions, their legal entity, their business units, right team? Their business units, their departments, then what type of jobs they are using, locations, grades, departments, everything team. So once we create all these organizations team, then the employees will be hired in that data. So while we hiring the employees in the system team, I mean to say, once we implement core HR module and once we hand over to the client. So in the day-to-day life, what they will be using in the core HR module means the employee hiring and the maintaining of the employee everything team. So in core HR module team, we will be configuring all our clients' organizations in the system team. So when we go for the project implementation also, initially we will be having the requirement gathering phase team. Usually, what are the different project phases, how to start, how to end, I'm going to touch base on that team in our implementation and support project session. But usually team, in any project in the real time you go, there will be first requirement gathering phase. During that time, we will be sitting with the client to understand their requirement team. So client will give their requirement to us, how they want the system to configure team. So during that time, we have to get the information from the client. What are their organizations? Currently, your client might be using SAP HCM or Success Factors, or they might be using PeopleSoft HRMS, or they might be using Oracle EBS HRMS team. Currently, they might be using some other, have some other ERPs in the system team. But now they are moving to Oracle Fusion team. So we have to first study the client's existing business structure, how many organizations they are having across different countries, how they are operating, how they bifurcated their business operations, how many registered companies they have in different countries. Within that, how they have bifurcated their business verticals, how many operational units they are having, then how many departments they have in that. We have to understand or analyze our client's existing business structure team. Client will help out to us. They will give all the required information team. So prior to Oracle, our client might be using any existing HR applications in the market team. So how they are using that? What are their organizations and all? We have to study team. And then we have to finalize the structure to the client team. What will be? So in Fusion system, what is the org or enterprise structure we have? I told you team in our last session. We have enterprise at the top, followed by divisions, followed by legal entities. Under that business unit, under that niche level or the lowest level will be departments team. What is what I told you? What is enterprise team? By taking Tata as an example team to you, I explained you. Enterprise means what? Divisions means what? Legal entities means what? Business units and departments means what team? So in real-time projects team, we will be finalizing this as per our client requirement team. So we will study our client's existing business structure, how they are operating currently team in their existing current HR system. And then team, we will be finalizing this structure to the client and we will explain to them, hey, this is what going to be your enterprise in the Fusion system. These are divisions. These are the legal entities. These are the business units and these are the departments team. And in fact, I told you, out of these org structural objects team, business units is at most important mandatory concept I told you. Why also I have explained team. We have one more concept called workforce structures team in the system, like jobs, location, grades, departments, positions. These 5 concepts together we call as workforce structures team. So all these work structures in the Fusion system are mapped to business units team. What are they and all you will come to know in next 2-3 classes team. But as a concept, you understand why business units are mandatory in the system means in Fusion system, the entire workforce structures, jobs, location, grades, departments, and positions are mapped to business units team. And divisions concept is optional. It is not mandatory team. Just for information purpose or the reporting purpose, we have team. After enterprise, directly you can create your legal entities team. From here, the configuration actually starts in the system team after enterprise. Divisions also skippable concept. In many of the implementations team, whenever you are going in the coming future days, divisions we will not use team. Many of the cases, we will define first of all our client enterprise team. Then we will define the legal entities team. So what is enterprise? When you go for a project, how you can identify your client organizations into enterprise divisions, legal entities, business units, departments. I told you in our last session, team, what is department, what is a business unit, what is a legal entity or a division or an enterprise. See, team, if you are sleeping also, if someone asks you a question, team, what is org structure by waking you up in middle, you should have this command on this org or enterprise. We have enterprise at the top, followed by divisions, followed by legal entities, followed by business units. Under business units, we will have departments team. Now, some of you might get a question by the statement that I passed in our last session on Thursday, team. I told you business units are at most mandatory, right? So few of might get a question. Kumar, my client is a very small client, Kumar. Only some 1,500 employees working. They have operations only in India. They have only one company, Kumar, registered company. Then directly they are having departments under that company. All the employees are categorized into different departments for business functionality wise. Business unit concept we don't have in our client company. Is it really required I have to create C team? If your client is a small company, small client, you are implementing the project also, you should have the business unit created team. At least one business unit for a legal entity is mandatory in the system team. I know some of you get this question. Before you asking, I'm only telling team. At least one business unit for a legal entity is mandatory. For example, Tata Motors Private Limited is there to my client in USA. Let's assume it's a small company there, only some 700, 800 or 1,000 employees working. They don't have any BU concept team. Directly they have department, but even then, at least with the same name, Tata Motors BU, like that team. One BU for a legal entity is at least mandatory team. On top of that, if they have multiple business units, they're operating like this team, then obviously you can define it accordingly. But at least one BU for a legal entity is mandatory team. So this is our org or the enterprise structure in the Fusion system team. So how to identify these things, I told you already, team. So enterprise means what I told you, our ultimate mother holding group of our client, the family at the top. So enterprise is a assumed entity at the top team. Assumed, okay, entity at the top team. The mother holding group of our client, we will define as an enterprise. And one more statement I passed team in our last session. These are very important for the interviews team. At any point of time in the Fusion system, okay, at any point of time in the Fusion system, we will have only one enterprise team. But in the interview, wantedly, interviewers will ask you to understand your knowledge team. Can you tell me how many enterprises we can create in the Fusion system? Or can you tell me the task name for configuring multiple enterprises? No, stop them there itself. We don't have the provision to create multiple enterprises. In Fusion system, we have only one enterprise to configure team. But under that, multiple divisions, multiple companies of our client, we can able to configure team. This is very strictly understandable concept team. Only one enterprise we have. If your client have presence in multiple countries, you define under that divisions or legal entities accordingly team. But enterprise will always be one. And business units, at least one BU for every legal entity is mandatory. Why? Because the workforce structures in the Fusion system, okay, will be assigned to the business units in the Fusion system team. That is the reason why business units are mandatory. Now, team, one more important concept I want to share with you. See, whenever we configuring the legal entities in the system team, we should also know about couple of more concepts here. What are they, team? whenever we're configuring about the legal entities team, we should also configure few more concepts team. What are they? Legal entity means what? We all understood team. Legal entity means what I told you, the actual registered companies of our client in every country as per their rules and regulations to conduct the business. Right, team? The company or the entity which is legally registered according to the government rules and regulations of that country to conduct the business operations team. We call them as legal entity. So in our general regular terminology, we call it as company. But in Fusion, we should call that as legal entity. Okay. So whatever our client companies across different countries, your client have 3-4 companies in India, 3-4 companies in US, 1 or 2 in Europe, 1 or 2 in Middle East, 1 or 2 in Australia. Each and every company of your client, we call it as a legal entity. I told you team. Okay. So when we configuring the legal entities or when we knowing about the legal entities team, we have 3 more concepts that you should be aware of. What are they team? We have something called team legal employer. Then we have something called payroll statutory unit. Okay. And we have something called team legislative data group. Okay. So when we're talking about the legal entities team, we should be talking about these 3 more concepts we have in the system. I'm trying to introduce to you all the organizational structural objects we have in the Fusion system, from enterprise to departments team. So whenever we configuring legal entities, so we have tasks names team. From tomorrow, I'm going to start that only. See, for defining the enterprise, we have manage enterprise HCM information team. So to define the divisions, we have manage divisions. To define the legal entity, then manage business unit, manage department. In core HR module team, we are going to configure these things only. Our client organizations in the system, we are going to define team. So when we configuring our legal entities in the system team, when we configuring our legal entities in the system team, 3 more concepts we have: legal employer, PSU, and LDG. What do you mean by that legal employer team? First of all, see, legal employer is nothing but the legal entity in which you can legally hires the employee in it. Legal employer means what team? The legal entity or the company in which you can legally hires the employees in it is called as legal employer. So one more important star marked observation and star marked interview question team, 5-star marked interview question team. When you go to the interviews team, the interviewer will ask you a question like this: where in the Fusion system you will hire the employees? Interviewer will ask you a question, what team? Where in the Fusion application you will hire the employees? 90% of the people team, even after my classes and you are practicing also in the mock interviews when we are taking, or even in the real-time interviews, I used to ask the students to record their interviews team and share it back with me so that I can understand where they were missing. So some few of the people who closely coming to the office and closely attending, interacting with us, I used to observe team from their interviews. When this question come to them, 90% of the people still saying that we will hire the employees in Fusion system at legal entity, because that is a company concept. Legal entity means company team, right? But that is absolutely wrong team. Okay. In Fusion system, okay, we will hire the employees in legal employer, not at the legal entity level. See, if you hand over the system to the client team, usually if you want to hire the employees team, HRs will come to my client group, new person. Here they will have the task team for hire an employee. These we are going to see in the transactions time once we implement team. See here, whenever the HR hiring an employee, so first we have basic details team, hire date and all. Here, system asking me what team, in which legal employer you are hiring the employee. The system asking me in which legal entity? No. System asking me what? In which legal employer you are hiring the employee. That is what your understanding team. Wantedly interviewer will confuse you. Okay. So you be very clear. If you say that I will hire the employee in legal entity, that is absolutely wrong team. Your answer, your preliminary understanding of the subject itself is wrong. In Fusion system, we will hire the employees in legal employer. Okay. Every legal entity, whenever we configuring in the system, we should also make them as a legal employer team. How to do that? I will show you. In this week only, we are going to configure this stuff, enterprise, divisions, legal entity. So when we configuring the legal entity team, every legal entity, okay, we have to define it as a legal employer. Every legal entity, if you want to hire the employees in them, you have to create the legal entity as a legal employer thing. The company or the legal entity in which you can hire the employees, it is called as legal employer in the Fusion system team, right? That is legal employer concept. Then we have a concept called team PSU, payroll statutory unit. See, I'm trying to introduce to you all the concepts or the terminologies we have team. Because once we start configuring the system, these things we are going to configure team. So next we have a concept called PSU. What do you mean by payroll statutory unit team? The name itself letting us know payroll. Payroll means salary. The other meaning is. So payroll statutory unit means the company or the legal entity which will legally process the salaries to the employees and maintains the taxes related to the employees and report to the government. That is called as payroll statutory unit. We have one more concept called it a PSU, payroll statutory unit. What is that? The legal entity or the company which will legally process the salaries to the employee and maintains the taxes related to the employees and report to the government. That is called as PSU, payroll statutory unit. So team, whenever we configuring the legal entities in the system, you should also create your legal entity as a legal employer to hire the employees, and you should also create your legal entity as a PSU in order to process the salaries to their employees team. But here, my client comes up with a different requirement team. What is that? One of the real-time common requirement I will give you team. See, my client telling me here, Kumar, we have two companies. One is TCS India Private Limited. This is in India. And we have one more company, Tata Automobiles, that is also in India. Okay. Understand the requirement properly, team. Two companies my client having. So my client telling me here, okay, my client telling me here, Kumar, TCS India Private Limited is a legal entity. Okay, is a legal entity, and it is also a legal employer. Okay, in this, let's say 10,000 employees working. Okay, it itself is a legal employer, 10,000 employees working. Then it itself is a PSU also, means TCS itself will pay salaries to their employees and all team. Here no issue. TCS is a legal entity and it itself is a legal employer where 10,000 employees working in that company, and it itself is a PSU. It will pay salaries to their employees team. Here no issue. But when it comes to Tata Automobiles team, what my client telling here, my client telling me, Kumar, Tata Automobiles is a legal entity, Kumar. It's a company of our company. I mean, it's a company in our organization, and it itself is a legal employer also. Let's assume here 5,000 employees working. Okay, 5,000 employees working here. But when it comes to salaries part team, what my client is telling, Kumar, for these 5,000 employees who are working in Tata Automobiles, for them, TCS only will maintain the salaries. That is quite common team. If the owner is same, they have multiple companies team. They want to maintain their operations of salary maintenance, tax reportings and all from one company. Quite natural team. So two companies in India, my client have TCS and Tata. Both are legal entities and both are legal employers. Employees are working in them. But for Tata Automobiles, 5,000 employees whoever working, TCS only processing the salaries team, taking care of the salaries team. Then how I can accommodate that team? How I can accommodate that team? See, when I'm configuring Tata Automobiles in a system, I will create it as a legal entity team. And I will also create it as a legal employer because 5,000 employees are working. When it comes to PSU team, for Tata Automobiles, I will tag TCS India Private Limited as a PSU team. This is also feasible in the system team. This is also feasible in the system team. What we did here, when we defining Tata Automobiles in the system, we creating it as a legal entity, legal employer. Coming to the PSU, it itself is not a PSU team because it itself is not paying their salaries team. TCS paying. So for Tata Automobiles, I will tag TCS as a PSU team. That is also doable in the system. And in fact, few of the clients might get this requirement. And even in my experiences also, few of the clients have this and we implemented team. So while we configuring the legal entities team, these informations also we have to be clear from the client. Okay. So legal employer and PSU concepts are that team. Then we have the concept called LDG. What is this LDG concept team? Legislative Data Group. See, LDG is nothing but team. It's a localized payroll partition concept in the system. It's a localized payroll partition. LDG, the name itself, see, legislative. Anything legislative means country. Okay. Legislative data group. Nothing but it's a localized payroll partition for every country in the system. Basically, where Oracle payroll module is supported team for all that countries, majority of the countries team, Oracle standardly delivers LDGs in the system. For India, we have something by name IN. India means IN Legislative Data Group. For United States, we have US Legislative Data Group. For Europe, let's say it is for UK, Great Britain, GB Legislative Data Group. For Middle East, UAE Legislative, Saudi Legislative, SA, Kuwait, okay, Legislative Data Group, Oman, OM. So for every country, legislative data groups Oracle delivered. Whenever we configuring the legal entities in whatever the country they belong to, that country specific LDG we have to map. Why? Why we have to map that? See team, when you come to payroll module team particularly or absence or compensation modules also team, country to country, certain legislative components will come into the picture team. For example, our client having presence in India, US, UK, Saudi, Australia. Let's assume team. I'll take your example. Our client having presence in India, USA, UK, then any Middle East country like Saudi or something I'm taking team. Okay. Now my client having presence in these four countries. All our client companies are also there in different countries, employees working there. In India team, as per the Indian country government rules and regulations, every company, every month when they pay salaries to the employee for the employees, these country specific components also will be processed in India team. We have something like Indian income tax. Then we have something like PF, Provident Fund. Then we have PT, professional tax. Then we have ESI, employee state insurance. Many of you know, I don't need to introduce them separately team. Huh? Many of you know about all this stuff, right? If you people are working anywhere, in every company, as per the Indian government rules and regulations team, for every employee, every month salary, income tax will deduct, PF contribution will deduct, professional tax 250 rupees or 200 will deduct, then employee state insurance. These are the Indian country legislative components team. For every employee who working in India, as per that government rules, these are the components that they will be getting processed team. Okay. Okay. Then in USA, if you take team, as per the US government rules, they have federal income tax, FIT. Okay. Then they have state level income taxes. Then they have FUTA, federal employment insurance tax, like that we have team. FUTA or something is there. Then they have county level taxes, city level taxes. They have many components there in USA team. Then if you go to UK, in UK, they have their respective tax rules. They have something called statutory deductions team. Okay. They have something like statutory deductions team, something like national insurance, payee, a couple of concepts they have team more. Okay. Then if you go to Saudi, basically team, many of us know Middle East countries are tax-free countries for employees team. Okay. Bhaskar, hold on. We will discuss at the end of the session. Okay. I know that you came from a already ORC completed course to this one. You have a couple of questions. We'll discuss that. Okay. When you come to Middle East countries team, okay, if it could be Saudi or UAE or something like Kuwait, Oman, in these countries team, they are tax-free countries. From the employees, government will not collect any taxes. Like in India, how we are paying income tax, they won't have any taxes team. But they have something called social insurance team. Every employee to be paid with their health insurances and all team. Social insurance they will have. In Saudi, we have something like GOSI for that team. In Kuwait, they have KSI, Kuwait Social Insurance. In Bahrain, they have Bahrain Social Insurance. So it means team, country to country, several legislative components have to be processed to the employees team. So for that matter team, Oracle given the concept of LDG. So whenever we configuring the legal entity, these legal entities are part of which country? So for the employees who hiring in these companies, which country component should get processed team? For that matter, we have LDG. Because team, next when you go to payroll, every configuration that you do in payroll system will ask under which country you are creating that setups, under which LDG team. So while we configuring the legal entities itself, we have to map that country specific LDG to that legal entities team. So system will understand, acha, these legal entities are part of Indian country. So whoever the employee is hiring in these companies, the Indian government related components to be processed or assignable. Or if I'm hiring an employee in these legal employers team in USA, the US country related component should be tagged and processed every week or every month, like that thing. So we have a concept called LDG. So for every legal entity, when we configuring them, we have to map the country respective legislative data group. Okay. Legislative data group. For India, we have IN by name. For United States, we have US legislative data group. Okay. Then for UK, we have GB by name, Great Britain legislative data group. Then for Saudi or US, UAE or Kuwait, accordingly, we have, let's say example, Saudi I'm taking, SA legislative data group. Then for Australia, you have AU, AU Legislative Data Group. Like that team, for every legal entity, when we configuring in the system, we have to map the country respective legislative data groups team. So this is about our org or the enterprise structure we have in the system team. This is at most important concept team because the entire core HR module, 70 to 75% will be this one only team. So whatever our client's organization team, what is our client enterprise, what are their divisions, what are their legal entities, what are their business units, what are their departments, the entire organizations of our client, we will be configuring in the core HR module team. So we have one more structure team along with enterprise, something called workforce structure. So once we define all the organizations team, what kind of job designations that our client using for assigning to their employees? Because whenever we hiring the employees team, we will be assigning the designations to the employees, right? Team different designations like manager, associate, engineer, trainee, consultant, HR designations. So team jobs and positions are that in the system team. Then locations. Locations means our client office addresses team. Then grades. In many companies team, whenever people recruiting, they will be recruiting in specific grades team. We have that concept. Then departments, that is actually part of org or enterprise structure team, that is at the niche level. The same concept we have in work structures also. This we will see slowly next team. But first of all team, when we go for the project, the first set of requirement we will collect from the client to start our core HR module will be this org or the enterprise structure team. Thorough understanding we should have with this concept. Once you are clear, once you finalize them, then you can proceed with the configurations in the system team. See, next, what we are going to do in core HR, we have geographies that okay, but after that team, we have enterprise, we have divisions, see, then we have legal entities, then we have business units, then we have departments. And then team, the work structures team, see grades, jobs, positions. The entire core HR module is this two only team. What are our client organizations and what are our client workforce structures? If we configure these things and we hand over team, client will use the core HR module for hiring their employees team. Because when we hiring the employee in the system, you have to capture all these details in which legal entity or legal employer we are hiring team. Next, in which business unit in that we are hiring. Because here it will ask team, see, for example, if I go to hiring screen, let's assume we implemented core HR module, we given to the client. The client side HR people started using the Oracle HCM system in their day-to-day HR activities team. In core HR module, see, whenever they're hiring the employee, today recruitment happened, interviews happened, people released offers. Now we have to hire that particular record in the system team. Hiring system asking me in which legal employer. Currently, one of the existing in this demo instance, I'm using team India legal entity. But in our case team, that is this one, all this stuff. We will hire the employees in Fusion system from here team. So whatever we configured team, they all will come in the drop down to us there. Okay. Whatever we configured, they all will come in the drop down here team. But currently, one of the existing in this demo instance, I'm using team. See, system asking me in which legal employer. Then we have some employee number, person number concept that we will see later team. Quickly, let me go to some of the screens here team. Something I'm giving some test. Okay, biotech, some name I'm giving team. Okay. First two tabs are employee personal level information team, identification, person info, where employee personal name, details, gender, NID. And second tab also team, personal information tab only HR will have, where employee address, phone details, email details. These are all things we will see detailedly. One full 1 hour discussion is there in the transactions part we will see. But just I want to try to show you team, why we configuring all these organizations in a system team. When we hand over, whenever HR hiring the employees in the system team, our legal employers are using here. Then if you come to this third tab team, employment information tab, okay. When we come to employment information tab here team, see where we will capture the assignment details of the employee. System will ask team, in this legal employer, okay, in which business unit you are hiring the employee. So whatever the BUs that we configure for our client in the system, these all BUs will come in the drop down team. So system asking us, in which legal employer, in which business unit, next team, in which position you are hiring, in which job you are hiring, in which grade ladder, grade, in which department, then in which location, see team. So if I hand over the system to the client, if they want to use the system in the day-to-day life, from where these all data will come? When HR click on the drop down, from where these all business unit list will come? Or when HR click on the positions drop down, from where the list of positions will come, grades or departments, something need to be configured in the back end, right? That is what we are doing. So in core HR module team, we will configure all our clients' organizations in the system and work structures in the system. Once we configure it and we hand over in the day-to-day life, when they started using team, when they're hiring the employees, all these data will be available to the HR's team. This is front end, the end users team. Once we hand over the system to the client side people, when they started using team, in order to make them use this system in the back end, we have to implement according to the client requirement all this data team. That is what we are going to do. So each and every module, in order to use that modules in the real time, whatever the configurations we have in that, we will do team. So in the front end, once we hand over the system to the client, all the data that what we configured will be available to them. They can start using that and they can perform all their day-to-day transaction, hiring, transfer, promotion, demotion. So the entire transactional things they can do team. But for that to do, we have to be configuring all this stuff. So as I'm telling you team, 70 to 75% of the core HR module will be these things only. All our client organizations, all our client workforce structures, we will be defining team. That's all. So who will give this requirement? You will finalize this? No, you will finalize, but this is not up to your decision alone team. It's client and we, because it's their system. According to their requirement, we have to configure. So when we go for the project team, first we will sit with the client side HR team and IT team, and we will collect the requirement from them. In the current system, that whatever you are using currently, how you are bifurcated all your companies into. What are the different companies that you are having in different countries? Under that, what is the further bifurcation of their business, everything. And then team, we will be finalizing this team. We will be finalizing this team. So once client given the sign off to this one, yes, this is what our organizations to be, then we will start configuring them in the system team. For each and every business object, we have a task team. For enterprise, manage enterprise. For divisions, manage divisions. For legal entities, legal entities. All our clients, org, and the work structure, we will configure team. I want everyone detailed, thorough understanding with respect to this concept. If you are missing something in this, you will be missing everything in Core HR module. Very clear. That important thing. Any interview you go, it could be a fresher interview, it could be 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years experience you are portraying and you are dropping the resume. The very first basic question, 100% take it as granted. Definite question in every interview team. Can you walk through the org or the enterprise structure we have in the Fusion system? Or what is the organization structure we have in the system? Or what is the org hierarchy we have in the Fusion system? The way the question framed in a different way, it could be different from interviewer to interviewer, because everyone accent or English will be different. The framing of the question might differ, but concept expectation remains same. Every interview, it will start with this question only, team. Because if this thorough understanding, if you have team, the interviewer will have clarity. Okay, this guy know what is core HR module, what is there in the system, right? So you have to answer it, team. In Fusion system, the org structure start with enterprise, followed by divisions, followed by legal entities, followed by business units, and followed by departments. We have enterprise at the top, followed by divisions like that. And each and every example also you can tell team. In the last session and today's session, whatever I'm explaining you, what is enterprise, what is division. In quick 1-2 lines, you can quickly explain to the interviewer also, team, so that they will get impressed with your presentation there. So this is what our org or enterprise structure. And when we learning about legal entities, when we configuring them, we should also be aware of these three things: legal employer, PSU, LDG. We have few more to be done, team, when we configuring the legal entity from the point of payroll. Like we have legal entity registration, legal authority, jurisdiction. But that we will be touch basing in payroll module, team, not yet required now. So this is what, team, you have to by heart this. You have to remember this, team. What is coming after what? And I hope everyone clear now. When you go for the projects in the real time, what is enterprise? How you have to identify in your client businesses, what is their enterprise? What are divisions? What are legal entities? What are business units and departments, team? Huh? Now let me go to the questions for today. Now, any questions in the last session or in today's session? Both two classes we discussed org or enterprise structure only theoretically, team. So any confusion or any understanding difference that you have here, team, please let me know. I can see a couple of questions in the chat board as well from Aravind. Hello Kumar, not sure if you covered this, but if an enterprise is having multiple legal entity, can all the legal entities have same business unit? That is also possible, Aravind. In Fusion system, business unit concept Oracle given as a global feature. It means you can use the business unit for multiple legal entities also. That is also technically possible. But usually for every company in real time also, they will maintain individually. For every legal entity, their respective business units, they will maintain. But if you ask me, can we handle in this way? You can able to do that. That is doable. And Bhaskar, hello sir, in the ORC we learned about, okay, Bhaskar case is different. Rest of the people ignore because he already attended ORC program and he came back. In ORC, we learned about manage organization, security profile, but as global HR, the enterprise, how we can differentiate. See, both concepts are same, Bhaskar. Here and there, the enterprise concept remains same. But there, probably Rajesh covered you from the perspective of ORC, whatever is needed from core HR. But here, I'm covering it, the detailed core HR end to end, from starting what to start and what to end. So the same concept, the enterprise, what you have discussed it there, here also the same concept is here. But security profiles and all that will come with respective to the custom role creations when you to give the restriction to the user based upon the role that will come. We are going to see that here also when we come to the rules part. And in ORC we manage geographies, location, hierarchy, but we are doing that. Here also we have that. Tomorrow, once I complete this topic, you will understand what is the difference between location and geographies. And then next, what is the question I can see here in the chat board? Aravind, can the legal employer be different than? No, no. Legal employer cannot be different than legal entity. Every legal entity, take it as granted, every legal entity, if you have to hire the employees in it, you should create it as legal employer. There is nothing like differentiating from that. Every legal entity should be legal employer also, if you have to hire the employees in that. Then Jitendra Tyagi. Okay. What is the question here, Jitendra Tyagi? it means legal employer is work location and PSU is a payroll location, right? If you want to understand from that perspective, you can, but usually legal employer is nothing but the company, the legal entity in which the employees will be hired. Obviously, your way of understanding is also correct only. PSU is a payroll location, correct. And Bhaskar again, some days, like I have seen this when I was selecting organization value to requisition at that time. They are legal entities, business units, whatever we configured here, in that you will be seeing in the requisitions in the drop down. See, you don't club that part with here. Here we are seeing from the core HR from the starting onwards. Once you define this here, these things only you will use in your ORC module also. Once we define these things, you will get in the drop down in the requisition. Whatever the BUs you configured here in core HR module, they will come in the drop down. Whatever the legal entities you configure, they will come in the drop down. Okay. And any other questions, team? I can see question.
Yeah.
Back configuring front
Hi.
end.
Yeah. Sorry. Hi, Kumar. Can you please repeat what are the mandatory things in this? Like a enterprise is mandatory, and business unit, you said it is all at most mandatory.
Except divisions, everything is mandatory.
Oh, okay, fine.
But why at most mandatory I'm using the word is we have a linkage of this concept with other concepts. That is why I used a word at most mandatory. But rest of everything is mandatory only. Enterprise, legal entity, business unit, departments. Only divisions are optional. Okay.
Got it. Thanks.
And then back end we are configuring front end input values who will do by default initial screen will be there when client purchase. We are obviously the entire application when you purchase it from the client, the ready-made all the screens were inbuilt. But if you want to do any customization on that screen, Venkatesh, you can able to do that. But by default, now I went to hire an employee screen. I don't need to configure it anything. It's a feature by default comes in to perform hiring. We have hired an employee task to do that in the front end. HRs will use that. But if you want to customize that page, that's a different story. Through Sandbox, we have an option to customization and personalization to do. And within business unit classification, within business unit based on geographical location and functional type, is there a specific tag or field to differentiate between the nothing like that? It's a conceptual understanding only. Is it Deepika or someone? Deepika Chaudhary. It's a conceptual understanding only. Business units you can identify based upon the region or based upon the business functionality wise. But there is nothing to tag something here. It's a kind of conceptual understanding we should have. And Srinivas, can you explain business unit? So what is the confusion, Srinivas, here? Can you please repeat the question? Meanwhile, let me go to other questions. In user management, we have manual option, Kumar, manually create for new user. If you need discrepancy in data, here is Venkatesh. Discrepancy in any data used a word means while hiring the employee, let's assume in the default user category, you have given user name as email ID. So by default, I told you whenever you're hiring the employees in the system in core HR module, user account system will automatically create under default category. Let's assume in the default category, username format you given as email ID. Means for every employees, their email IDs should be username. Let's say while hiring the employee, HR didn't capture the email ID. In the second tab, HR didn't capture the email ID and he hired the employee. What system will understand? How system will create the user account in that case? That is data discrepancy. In that case, manually please be on the mute team, some echo is coming. Manually, HRs have to create the accounts to the users. That is what data discrepancy means. And then Prashant, can we say work structure is equal to department? Work structure is a combination of all these 5 concepts: jobs, location, grades, departments, and positions. These all together we call as workforce structures. And Anik, please help me out to get last recording so that I can Anik, every recording you will be finding up in the portal to you. Already the session that what we have taken on Thursday uploaded in the portal on the same day. Please check out your Triotech portal so that you can able to find daily recording. And this Excel sheet, yes, I will upload today. Actually, Thursday I thought of sharing with you, but let me complete this topic and I thought of sharing. So today I will share with you. And Rishikesh, in backend, where are the configure? I'm going to show you from tomorrow that we're going to start how to configure this enterprise divisions and all. And if we hire legal employee in one location, can we see same employee? We can see Kruti, but at the same time, that will be restricted based upon the roles that your user account having. To what data HRs will have access to the system will decide it based upon the roles. And how do departments relate to employee roles and responsibility? See, basically departments is nothing but the lowest level where the employees are bifurcated for operational purpose. It's a common thing in every organization, right? If you are working also, you might be working in some department, sales department, HR department, finance department. That is what the concept of department is. And during the discovery call, do we accept any new configurations that we can be added? Obviously, whenever we have the requirement gathering, as per the client requirement, we have to configure accordingly only. And business, Kumar, is every legal employer by default is a PSU, which is one-to-one mapping, or however the PSU to legal employer will be one. Usually, Sanjay, yes, every legal entity is a legal employer and PSU. But for any change, as an example, I told you, for Tata Automobiles, I want TCS to pay. In that case only, we will change PSU to the legal entity. But by default, usually every legal entity is a legal employer and also it is a PSU in the system by default. Okay. So team, I also shared with you the first set of assignment document to you, right? So I also have shared a reference PDF also from one of the student team. I request everyone to start working on that. See, if you are comfortable that you want to go with your own pace of practicing, that's okay, fine. But if you have any confusion in practicing how to start and all, first go through that assignment what I have given from day 1 to till today, whatever we completed. All the set of questions we have asked to you in that assignment team. How to prepare that also, one of the reference document I have given to you. Please don't copy exactly from that. You do by your own hands. You do by your own team so that you will get hands-on exercise team. So from starting all these 6 classes or 5 classes, whatever we completed till today, we have asked you to configure in that assignment team. So question number 1 to I think 14 or 12 I have given. Please complete that assignment team. So next tomorrow, day after that, what we have also in that only we have that team. So you can use that assignment for every module. I'm going to give you like that team. You can able to practice that in the system. And once you prepare that assignment, please let us know. We will also evaluate that configurations what you have done team. Please take the screenshot of everything what you are doing and put it in the Word, so that you can use it as a reference for yourself also while you are practicing team. Okay. I'll conclude here for today. Let's join back tomorrow and I will continue team. Thank you everyone.